Welcome to the Richard Lloyd USA YouTube channel. I'm Richard Lloyd. Well, I've been promising you that I was going to do a video on the TP-Link WR841N, this is a version 9, and how to put DD-WRT into it. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, you may be asking, what is DD-WRT? Well, it's a third-party firmware that actually can be loaded into hundreds of routers or different routers, probably, at least hundreds anyway. And what it is a third-party open source replacement for stock firmware, which is great because this router has been end of life for about 2 or 3 years. And the last time the firmware on this router was officially released from TP-Link was over 10 years ago, 2015. And since then, many vulnerabilities have been found in these routers by many agencies. So that's why you want to not use the stock firmware on this router. Strongly recommend you don't. And if you want to see why, I'll show you right here. Okay, here's a list of 41 known vulnerabilities on these routers. The WR841N, and not all of them, but most of them have them. Actually, out of the 41, they all have at least one. Okay, so you can look through the list here. Just do a search for WR841N vulnerabilities, and then just click on common vulnerabilities and exposures. Oh, I'm not on the internet right now, so it'll show you the 41. And just to add insult to injury, CISA, which is the Cyber Infrastructure Security Administration, has added the 841N to one of its known flaws to be exploited into their catalog. So yeah, pretty bad when the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and Information is putting your router on a list. So yeah, if you have one of these and you're using stock firmware, follow this video and please put DD-WRT into your router. It's going to be just as fast, if not faster. It's going to give you a lot more functionality. Number two, it's updated regularly. The latest update for the firmware for this router and all DD-WRT routers happened about a week ago. So again, they're on top of it all the time, and they keep it updated. All right. Now, if you want to find out about DD-WRT, go to DD-WRT, .com, and here you'll see everything about it, including cool little link here in the center of the web page. Click on it. Wow, I keep forgetting. Let me plug this completely vulnerable router back into my network. It's the things I do for these videos. But anyway, it's very, I have it very limited. So it's just this computer, the router, and the internet connection. So I'll let that boot up here real quick. And then I'll show you the demo. The nice thing about this router is that it's such a, it's actually 11 years old now. And it's a great little router, and it's been great for me. But I always use DD-WRT on it, so I never had to worry about it. So let me refresh that page. There we go. So yeah, you click on that and you'll get a demo of what it looks like. You have a setup page, wireless services, security, all the things, cool things of DD-WRT. You can actually look at this, what your router is going to look like prior to it being flashed by looking at the demo page if you wish to preview it. But regardless, I'll show you how to set it up and how to configure it to have, a default setup that works quite well. Plus, I'll show you a few little tweaks that'll make it a little faster on the wireless side as well. So, yeah, we want to get this stuff off as quickly as possible. So what we're going to do first is we're going to log into the router and see what version of the router you have. Okay, so first we've got to figure out what the IP address for your router is. By default, and I have it here in a notepad, the default IP address is 192.168.0.1, and I know that that's where mine is, but yours may have been changed. So the way to find out is go down here to your network icon, open up network and internet settings, go to change adapter options, right click the Ethernet adapter that it's connected to, or if you're using Wi-Fi, I mean, I don't recommend it. Yeah, let's start with that first. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. You're going to need an Ethernet cable connected to your router on any one of the yellow ports, which are the LAN ports. Of course, in my case, I have the internet hooked up to it right now as well. But however, what we need is this router connected to one of the LAN ports on the actual router, and one of the LAN ports on the back of your computer or your PC, whatever you have. Again, do it that way. And like I said, if you don't have an Ethernet adapter, you can get for $10 on Amazon an Ethernet adapter that's USB, and they come in USB-C and the regular USB as well, if that's what you require. But $10, and it's very fast and it's very good. I'll put a link for that in the video description. You know, but regardless, hook it up that way. And the other thing you're going to need to know is where the reset button is. In all of them, it's right here, right beside the last LAN port and near the antenna. We're going to be holding that down for 20 seconds to reset the router, but that's where the reset button is. And luckily, it's just a button you can press with your finger, so you don't have to do anything special. So we've got the router hooked up correctly. It's turned on and connected to your computer. Again, we're going to do this. Right-click the network icon. Go to Change Adapter Options. Right-click the Ethernet adapter that is on. For me, I've got several here, but you know, again, if I unplug the router, you'll see that it turns off. But that's how you'll know which one yours is if you have multiple. Usually, most computers only have one. So here we're going to go to right-click it and choose Status. Go to Details, and you'll see here your default gateway, DHCP server, DNS server, are all the same IP address, 192.168.0.1. So that's how you find out where it actually is. If the default IP address isn't what it was set to, you can't change it. So that's how you find out the IP address of your router. That works for any router, by the way. So now we know where it is. We're going to open up a web page here, and yeah, this will do. And we're going to type it in, 192.168.0.1, and hit enter. And there's the default web page, and in my notepad, you'll see here that the username, the default username is admin, all lowercase, and password is admin, all lowercase. So let's do that. And you'll see why we're doing this here in a second. All right, and here we're gonna, it's been reset, and you should reset your router by powering it up, letting it boot up, and hold the reset button down for 20 seconds. You want to start fresh. So here I'm just going to hit exit, or I could have just gone to status up here, just clicked on that link. And here you'll see your firmware version. It says 3.16.9, blah, blah, blah. It's 150401 release. You know, this is my firmware version. And for version 9, which is what I have, and this is how you find out what version of router you have. Go to the hardware version, and you see WR841N version 9 right there. Whatever your version you have will show up here in the status page, okay? And I have the latest firmware in this router, but that's not what we want to use. We actually want to use the oldest firmware version available from TP-Link for your router version. So if you had a version 8, go to the TP-Link site, and we're going to do that here in a second here. Do I have it anywhere set up here? No. Let's go to, well, we can use this now that we know the vulnerabilities. Here's that's the page I was trying to show you. Anyway, 41 vulnerabilities there. So anyway, we're going to go to do a web search for WR841N WR. Too many routers, and they're all named very similar. 841N firmware. Okay, just type that into search. There you go, and then you get TP-Link, and it says download for TL WR841, and this is version 14, but it doesn't matter. Just click on that one. If you have a 14, then go with that. But I believe the highest that this can go to would be version 11. But we'll check here on the website, on the DD-WRT website in a minute. But what we're going to download, we're not there yet. I'm going to do the V9 because that's what I have, the version 9. Then we're going to go click on firmware, and you'll see a bunch here. You have 3 of them, right? I downloaded all 3 because you never know if this is going to be up in the future or not. And it's nice to have it inside your computer as opposed to on the internet. Maybe your router doesn't connect to the internet. At least you have the firmware here to bring it back. And I'll put a link up in the top here for the rescue, revert, restore video that I've already made about this router to bring it back from DD-WRT or a catastrophic failure of any kind. So watch that video. It's very cool. So I've already downloaded all 3, but what you want is the oldest one available. And if you look by the dates here, the oldest one available is the 104. So I'm just going to click on that one. Now, why am I downloading the oldest one? Well, primarily because TP-Link and a lot of the router manufacturers have been updating their firmware to lock out the ability to put third-party firmware into the router. Now, I don't know why that is. I have my suspicions, but that's, it's all just conjecture. But they've basically been locking the routers down with the newest firmware to not allow you to put third-party firmware into them, which means basically if you can't put the firmware into them, the third-party firmware into them, you might as well throw them away because as you saw, 41 vulnerabilities. You don't want to use that on the internet. That's just crazy. But if you put this firmware into it, then, hey, you don't throw it away. You keep it. You keep using it. And you don't buy another one, right? That's my suspicion anyway. Or maybe they just don't want to keep supporting them anymore and they just want them all to go away, right? But regardless, we're keeping them out of the landfill using this system. So I'm going to put this in my downloads directory, and I'm going to create a folder here. New folder. We're going to call it WR841N, and it's going to be version 9, V9. There we go, right there. Okay, and I'm going to put this file in there. Now you can see here that it's zipped, so that means it's compressed. We've got to unzip it, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Hit save. Yeah, and the whole point being that the older files, and I forgot to finish the point, the older files are not usually locked. And the nice thing is you can actually downgrade your router, and this is what we're going to do, from newer versions of the firmware to older versions of the firmware. So that's about what we're going to do here in a minute. So let's go here. Let's go to downloads, back to my folder where I put it, WR841N V9. Double click that. You'll see the zip file. Just click on it once, then right click it, and choose extract all, right? And then use the defaults, okay? There we go. It creates a folder. Let me show you that. There it is right there. There's a folder created. Double click it. There's a subfolder. Double click it. And there's the actual file we need, the actual bin file, which is the firmware. Okay, so I'm assuming that you've got the right firmware for your version. Make sure it's for your version. Also, it's country specific too, so make sure you go to the TP-Link website for your country. It automatically goes to US here. I don't know if it does that anywhere else. So there we got the file we need. Now we're going to go back to the router. Go to System Tools, down to all of these here. Even if you haven't reset it yet, just do the factory defaults and log back into it again. You want to do this fresh. I've already done it. So here we're going to go to firmware upgrade. Then I'm going to hit browse and go to my downloads directory, WR841N version 9, the folder with the firmware file in it. Double click it again, and there it is. This file, which is 104 for my router. Yours may be different. Make sure you downgrade it to the oldest one. I know it does, it like basically makes it more vulnerable, but it doesn't matter. The firmware is only going to be on the router for about 5 minutes anyway. So hit open and then hit upgrade. Are you sure you want to upgrade the firmware? Okay. And now it's just going to go through the process. Let's go back to DD-WRT. Really can't do anything yet. Now the next place we're going to go is to the router database here, this button, because that'll show us, you know, the versions for this router that are, or firmware for this router. And I'll show you that in a second once the router reboots. I'm not sure whether it's there yet or not. Let's see. Nope, still waiting. Yeah. So yeah, make sure like you have the right version for your router. That's crucial. But again, if you mess it up, if you follow that video I put a card to, and I'll probably put it at the end of the video as well, you know, you can restore it back to the stock firmware. So I always do that video first before I show anybody how to do this. Okay, so let's go back. There we go, finally. So admin and admin again. And we'll go back to status. And you can see now that it's now 150.104, where it was 401 before, okay? So we've downgraded it, so now it should work. Now, you know, as an aside, every one of those, for the V9, because it's such an old router, every one of those firmwares will allow you to put third-party firmware into it. Others may not. And if, you know, again, it'll just tell you it's the wrong file, or it's the wrong, or it'll give you some sort of error. And if you want to read more about that, go to opendwrt.org and search for the WR841ND, which is the same router. And it will tell you all about that. And the error code you get will be something like this. Error code 1805, upgrades unsuccessful, blah, 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 because the file was incorrect, right? So I don't know if I can find one of these routers that do it. Actually, I do have one right here. This is the WR940N. This one does that error. But if you downgrade the firmware file to the lowest, oldest available, then it goes away and allows you to do it. So that'll be on a future video. I'll show you how to do that. But again, that's why I do this. Get the oldest one, put it in, then start. Okay, so now we're back online. And let's go to the router database at DD-WRT. And if you want to find out about this stuff, there's a forum here. There's a wiki with all sorts of information about frequently asked questions, all sorts of stuff. I mean, you know, just huge amount of information. Go to the router database here. And in the search, just to type in WR841N. And it'll give you all the ones that are available. And you'll see that the 13 is currently not available. I may buy a 13 from eBay to experiment with because I think I know a way of getting it on there, but I wouldn't want to do that with one of your routers. I'll do it with mine first. Okay. So 9, 8, 7, 5, 3, all available, you know, all the way up. The only one is 13, unfortunately. And there is a 14 version, and that's not there either. So I'm going to choose 9. And you see that there's 2 files. It takes 2 files to do this. You need a bin file to you know, install it. And then after that, you use a second bin file to finalize the installation. It's just the way it works. 2 files to do it. But you can see here, these are fairly old. Like this is 2020 and this is 2020. Now, if it's on this page, that means it's secure, it's good, you can use it, it's not a problem, right? But I like using newer versions. So if you go here to downloads, and then you go to other downloads over here, then you go to betas, you get the newest and latest. And actually, you can just click on the latest here, but I'll just go to 2025. And if you scroll to the bottom, okay, good, there's the cookie thing. You'll see that the latest one is 62324, right? So R62324, this one here. So you click on that, and then a whole bunch of things here, but if you hit Control F on your browser and just type in WR841N, it'll take you right to the WR841Ns, and mine's a version 9. I click on that. Well, allegedly I click on that. What happened to it? Yeah, 841N. There we go. There. And it gives you the two bin files, and they're 2025, and you know, both of them are 1013. So that's what? What's today? 15th? Yeah, those files are 2 days old. That's how new the firmware is. So TP-Link is made all these routers end of life, so they are no longer supporting them, and they're no longer update them. So those vulnerabilities are there to stay with the stock stuff, stock firmwares. They're not going to change them. They're done. So with this, you fix all those vulnerabilities, okay? Actually, with the official one that I showed you prior to coming here, you fix all those vulnerabilities. But I'm going to show you another place where you can find these. Let's do another web page, new tab. Here we go. Now, if you do a search for DD-WRT FTP, hit enter, you'll get the DD-WRT FTP site. So here you see all the betas, and I find it's just much better, much quicker. So here, and it's much more complete too. I'm going to hit on 2025, scroll to the bottom, and then right there you see 62324. We're going to go to that one. Again, Control F, WR841N, and I want my version 9. You take whatever version you have. Again, version, very important. Wrong version, you're probably going to have to reinstall the original firmware again. So I'm going to take the factory bin, and I'm going to put it back onto my downloads. As you can see, I've been here before. So I'm just going to put it here. Same place, WR841N V9. And here I'm going to take that the Webflash bin file too, put it there as well. All right, that's that. Next, we go back to our router, which is 192.168.1.0.1. And we go to System Tools, and then we go to Firmware Upgrade, and then Browse. And go back to our original folder, which is WR, under Downloads, WR841N. Now you put it where you want, but you know, you can follow my direction too. So what we want is the Factory-to-DDWRT bin. That is the first one you install on all DD-WRT firmware. So we hit Open, and then we hit Upgrade. Are you sure you want to upgrade the firmware? Yes. And this is where the magic happens. This is where I feel good, because currently this router that I'm using right now is highly vulnerable on the internet, and it is on the internet, and it's plugged into my computer, and it's plugged into my network. Not cool, right? So actually it's not plugged into my network, but it is plugged into my computer. But again, it's isolated at this point to just the router, the internet, and my computer. Shows you how nervous I am, because I see 41 vulnerabilities and CISA saying, yeah, this router is on our list of bad ones, right? But after this is done, it won't be bad. It'll be secure. It'll be great, okay? And I'll show you a little site where you can test it out as well here in a minute. But first, we've got to finish doing the installation and the configuration and all that, and I'll show you all that, shortly once this finishes upgrading. Okay, let's see if we're there. Oh yeah, and back to my notepad here. The default IP address for DD-WRT is always going to be 192.168.1.1. So after you flash it, it automatically changes to that IP address. So here I'm just going to copy it, but you have to type it in and put it in again. So 192.168.1.1. And there it is. And this is really nice. It forces you right off the bat. Put a new username and password in there. And in my notepad also, you'll note that the default username is root, all lowercase, and the password is admin, all lowercase. If this doesn't come up, or if it comes up and asks you for a password, those are them. I've never actually had that happen. And on the TP-Link, the default username and password after you reset it is admin. So here, let's just change it to admin, and then I'll just put a password in that I will remember. You do the same. And it does rank your password pretty good, 86%. There we go. And now we're at a web page we don't really want to see. This is what comes up every time you log into this router, or you put 192.168.1.1. I don't like this default setting, so we're going to change that after we log in. So here we're going to go to administration. It's going to ask me to log in, which is normal. Sign in. There we go. And then under here, you'll see info site password protection. So what that will do, we'll hit save. So we're going to click on that. And what this does is it stops that advertising of all that information. I don't think the router should leak any information to anybody that doesn't have a password. So in other words, without that setting, which should be, as far as I'm concerned, default, the router, anybody that can go to 192.168.1.1 will get that page telling them all about the router. And that's not something you want, because that's how hackers work. It's, oh, it's a TP-Link WR841N, and it has this, that, and it's like, and it's running DD-WRT. No. Okay, so here we're going to hit save, and then save and apply. I'm just kind of OCD on that. You can just hit save and apply, but I like the fact that you can save it without applying it. Because that allows you to make a bunch of settings, and you know, again, in future videos you'll see why that's a big deal. I'm going to make a video on this one, turning it into a Wi-Fi repeater or extender, as it would be called, and in that you'll see why that save button's so cool. All right, so here I'm going to log out, and then I'm just going to go right back to it again just to show you what happens. Oh, I said log out. Okay. Yeah, well, the web page is caching it. So let's see. 192.168.1.1. Yeah, it's still caching it. All right. Well, it didn't log me out. Let's try that again. Okay, let's see if that's true this time. Yeah. So as you can see, this is what I wanted. I wanted nothing here, and there's nothing here. So at this point, I'm going to log back in again. There. So, administration. Now, the next thing we need to do, we're not done yet. We got to go to here to firmware upgrade. We've got that little bit of business out of the way. Security's important. So go to administration, firmware upgrade, browse, and we're going to put the second flash bin file in. This completes the whole process. So we're going to hit open, and then we're going to hit upgrade. And it's going to go through the process. Now, another nice thing about this router, which I really like, it really boots very fast. Like my other routers is like 1-2 minutes from starting to the end of the boot process. This thing's like 30 seconds once, and that's a normal reboot, not just a flash. A flash is going to take a little longer. Okay, so let's take this out of here and that. Okay, so we'll wait here. And yeah, at this point, this router is secure. I think we're there. Yeah, continue. Yeah, we're back up. So right now, I haven't done anything to it, just like it is. It's connected. Let's go to www.grc.com. And this is a great website for security. So very valuable, lots of great information here. You can learn a lot by going through this website. So I'm going to go here to something called ShieldsUp, which is just a basic test for your router, and hit proceed. Now, when I did this with the stock firmware, it did not pass. All three of them failed. But this with the DD-WRT third-party firmware installed, zero configuration at all, just straight like we just did it, other than that web page, which doesn't affect this test at all. It passed everything. So let's see the unplugged plug and play. By the way, this IP address will change next time I plug a new router in. It does it every time. Okay, so there's no question, right? So again, that's good news. It passed that test. See, green, right? So we're good on that one. and then there's a port scan right here, all service ports. You can test a whole bunch of other stuff, but here all I care about is just testing the ports on the router, and that's what I'm going to do here. And then it will continue to, examine all the ports. So we'll come back to that. And you can see green is good. If there's no blues or any other, or red or any other color, it's passing. Okay? That's just default straight installed. Nothing done to it. So it shows you how secure they put this stuff together. It's awesome, right? So back to the router. We're going to go back to the setup page. Now, here is your connection type. If you have, a DSL connection, or PPOE, or whatever else you have other than just, automatic configuration, which most people use, it's here. That's how you change it. I'm leaving mine alone. You can change the router name if you wish. That's up to you. There's no big deal. Make sure the shortcut forwarding engine is on. That's usually by default set anyway. STP, well, if you don't know what that is, don't bother with it. Just leave it alone, okay? The IP address, leave that standard. DHCP server, again, leave it standard. Here, change it to your time zone so the time will be right. So with me, it's US. I'm in Central, which is, where Texas is, which is where I am. And here, we just hit save. We didn't hit apply yet because there's no need yet. There will be in a minute. Now we're going to go wireless, and you can see that DD-WRT is here. Change this to whatever you want to call your wireless connection. So I'm just going to leave it with DD-WRT, but we're going to go here to wireless security, and this is another thing that bothers me. Security mode, disabled, which means right now, right, the way it is, if I turn on Wi-Fi, right, and I click on DD-WRT and just hit connect, you see what it says there? Open. Anybody can log into that router. I'm in it. See? Connected. Open. Right? So, yeah, this is definitely one of those settings you want to change real fast. So what we're going to choose is WPA. WPA2. This is the only settings you should choose. WPA2, okay? If you use WPA personal, it's not all that secure, right? There are problems with that. But if you need it, use it. So here we're going to use WPA2 and CCMP-128 AES, and that's it. Okay, that is the most secure Wi-Fi setting you can get on this router and most routers, believe it or not. Now there is a WPA3 available, but that's a hardware thing. Regardless, there's no vulnerabilities with this router with this setting, okay? Actually, with any of the settings. So here we're going to hit save and apply. Now it's going to ask me for a username, a password for it, and that's going to be your Wi-Fi password. So you set it to whatever you want. There we go. Now we're going to hit save and apply. And not much should change. It's like, the router should still be here and it should be good. So now we've got everything more or less set, I believe. Like I said, you can go through all these settings, and again, you can use the demo over here on DD-WRT. Let's go home here. Right here, this demo, and it'll give you all those tabs and all that stuff to play with without actually, having it set up. And DD-WRT, the DD in WRT stands for Dresden. That's where this is made. It's made in Germany. Okay, so let's go back to our router. There we go. Okay, so here's all the other stuff. Services. Again, one of the things I like to do here is enable the SSH daemon, and I disable Telnet because I never use that. If you don't know what those things are, just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. SSH is the ability to use a protocol called SSH to log into this router on the command line and do whatever you want with it. Okay, so I'm going to hit save and apply. So you got the service on. there's one more thing to make that work, and that is to come over here and choose Enable on SSH Management under Administration and Management. Again, if you don't know what this is, don't worry about it. Just leave it alone. There we go. Okay, that's for me more than anything else. At this point, I should need to put a password in for DD-WRT. Probably previously connected to it, so let's just go forget it. There we go. So let's I'm going to take, okay, I'm going to disconnect the Ethernet, just physically pull the cable out of the back of it, and now I'm going to connect to DD-WRT. Connect. Should ask me for a password, and it does. There we go. Next. Sure. Connected, secured. All right, let's do a little test. Let's see what kind of speed we're going to get with this thing. Okay, so there's our full scan of 1,056 ports. And what does it say? Passed. That's before I said anything. Okay, like, you know, awesome, right? Straight out of the box, all the vulnerabilities are gone, and your router is now safe to use on the internet and on your network, or for whatever purpose you want to use it for. Okay, so let's go to speed test right here. There we go. Let's change that. I like to use Fort Worth. If you've watched my videos, you see me doing this all the time. There we go. And really, we're kind of being router mavericks doing this, because basically what's happening here is that the router companies are starting to lock down the routers, so you can't do this anymore. It's just going to say, hey, sorry, you can't do a third-party firmware, so that router's no good anymore. Get another one. Not really cool, especially since you own the thing. Shouldn't you be able to put whatever you like on it, right? If I own a car, I can put whatever components on it I want, right? You know? It's like, nah, your warranty's over, throw it away. It's like, that's not really cool. Okay, so that was not great. I'm going to go back to DD-WRT. And I'm going to go to wireless here. There we go. Oh, I think it's where I actually have the router. Okay, let me try that test one more time before I change anything. There we go. Let's go. It's looking a little more promising. Now, this is a 100 megabits per second router. In other words, none of the connections on the back of this router will go any higher than 100 megabits. So this is a really decent score, right? And I'll show you how to tweak this up and make it a little faster, hopefully. There's a couple of tricks, all right? Yeah, decent. This is Wi-Fi speed, okay? So we'll test the Ethernet speed here in a minute. Let's go, well, let's do that right now. Okay, there we go. Plug in Ethernet. Disconnect Wi-Fi. There we go. And back to speed test. Let's try that again. Yeah, comparable, right? Now, I'm going to try a little trick, which I've noticed is kind of strange, but it works. So, all right, we'll basically getting the same kind of result. I'm going to go back to administration here, firmware upgrade. I'm going to do that last firmware upgrade again. So the second flash file, and open and upgrade. Now, this is beta firmware, so you can go up and down, and actually you're probably going to get the best results from the one that's stock. So in other words, when you go looking for the router database and you type in WR841N, which won't work right now because the router, oh wow. The one that you get from here will probably be the most stable and more than likely the fastest, right? The rest is just improvements and, you know, making the interface better, whatever, and adding features too. So I do always go with the betas, but this is the most likely to give you a great result, okay? So back to the build, upgrade successful, it's rebooting. Very interested to see if this works. 1.1. All right, we're back up. Let's try that test again, see what happens. Go. See, there you go. See, you flash that last one twice and it gets faster. See that? Like now I'm getting 82. I wasn't getting 82. It was in the 70s, right? Now, I also noticed that sometimes it's browser dependent. So let's try it with Google. Great. We're going to type in speed test. It knows exactly because I've done it a million times. Change. No, that's good. We wanted that one. I'm sorry. There we go. Notice the difference? That's why I like the Firefox over the Google Incognito. See? Speed difference, right? Like the other test is not running anymore. It's just sitting there waiting. But it, like basically browser dependent, right? We'll try the Microsoft Edge in a private window as well. Neat little trick with that Firefox, isn't it? Right? That incognito Firefox is going to be faster. All right. And there, that's done. Okay. Can you figure out why? Yeah. It's a lot cleaner, isn't it? Let's close this down. And back to the, there we go, private browsing, speed, test.net. Let's go. Again, notice what's on this page that isn't in the Firefox private window, right? Big deal. Yeah, so little tip for everybody there. Okay, so there. See, now I'm getting 91 on this one. So browsers are different. It's just, that's the weird thing, right? So okay, let's see when this is done if the Firefox goes to 91 as well, right? And remember, this is 100 megabit maximum ports on the Ethernet, and that would be the internet port as well. So the fact that you get 91, that's 9% short, or 8.7, whatever, 8.77, believe, yeah, percent below the theoretical maximum. Really awesome, really. Okay, so we got 91.23 there. Let's try this one more time over here. Maybe the router just needed to warm up. But see what I mean about flashing that the second time? It seems to make it go faster. It's just a little thing I've noticed. Yeah, see? So this browser is a little slower than the Microsoft, right? So we'll use the Microsoft for the rest of the test because it's the fastest one. Okay, so we've got that done with Ethernet. I'm going to unplug that. And we're going to go back to Wi-Fi because I want to show you how to tweak that a little bit and make it even a little faster. There. So automatically connected to DD-WRT. Again, we're going to go back over here to the Microsoft browser and just hit go. See what kind of speed we get now. Yeah, considerably faster. And you see how quick that picked up to get up to that speed? That's neat. All right, so let's make that Wi-Fi just a little quicker. So you go to setup. Actually, we'll go to wireless on the router. There we go. And change this from mixed to N only, 2.4 gigahertz. and then change this from full 20 to wide 40. And leave all the rest alone. You can play with all these settings if you wish, but I'm just going to leave them all alone. I'm going to just hit save and apply, which should reboot the radios. And that should, I'm going to, just for kicks, disconnect from Wi-Fi, reconnect to Wi-Fi. And we see, yeah, I'll wait for that DD-WRT to come back up because, like I said, it's rebooting the radios on the router. It's a great little router. I really like it a lot. It's too, you know, again, but I've been using it, like seriously, with DD-WRT in this router for over 10 years. I've never had a problem with it, ever. Of course, it's secure, right? All my routers, I actually don't buy a router unless I can put DD-WRT on it. Or some other open sourced firmware, third-party, you know, solution, you know, beyond the stock garbage that, you know, I shouldn't say garbage, the stock firmware that you get stuck with on regular routers. There we go. And just for people who have a version 13, there is another version, group called OpenWRT that has a third-party firmware for the 13 that will work. If I can get my hands on the 13, I'll make a video on how to install that. Otherwise, I'll probably be making a video on how to install OpenWRT on this router as well. All right, depends. You know, like I said, don't like to keep anybody out. So we're now up, basically put the settings to the maximum settings on this. Let's go back to our Microsoft browser, which we were connected to before on Wi-Fi, got 78. Let's see what we get now. Way better, right? Look at that. Almost the same as the Wi-Fi. Oh, that just beat the Wi-Fi speed, the Ethernet speed. Holy cow. Pretty well equaled it. That's nice, right? So, pretty amazing, right? Pretty cool. So there's your DD-WRT firmware, secure, fast, and running great. So that's how you tweak it up and make it a little faster on 2.4 gigahertz. And yeah, that should be it. Right? We've done. I think I've covered it all. Let me look at my. No, yeah, that's it. So yeah, strong warning. Do not use the stock TP-Link firmware with this router. Check whatever router you're using to make sure that it's secure. Also, whatever router you're using, go to the manufacturer's webpage and upgrade the firmware to the latest version. No one ever does that. They don't even know it to do it. They just plug them in and just say, oh, it works. Okay, let's go. Right? But the latest firmware on most manufacturers is the most secure one. Okay? But in this case, we're using the oldest one because it's the most likely to let you do this. So comments in the comment section below, whatever your experience you had on other versions like a V12 or a 4 or 5 and 8, whatever, put them in the comment section. See, I want to know how it went. Maybe if you have any issues or problems, just put them in there. And I may address them either by answering a question for you or by creating a video for you, right? And if I'm going to be looking for a version 13 because I got a little idea on how to put it into that router. And I'm not sure whether it's going to work or not. And I may, you know, fry it doing it, but I can always return it back to stock. I know how to do that. And in my video, again, that I put the link up there for at the beginning and at the end of the video, shows you how to do that as well. If you like my video and you like my content, subscribe to my channel. It's part of the process. Click the bell icon. That will notify you every time I put up a new video, and then you can watch it at your own leisure. Do me another big favor. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like on the bottom there, and you know, that helps me on YouTube, and you know, helps my channel. I really appreciate that stuff, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself. We'll see you in the next video.